Hey, what's up guys? This is Oakley and we're going to be doing a 2 versus 2 battle. My ally is going to be playing as Swaby. Take a look at his line as it moves forward. And I'm going to be the one taking position up on the hill. And I'm going to be playing as the Bowie Eye, moving up on this position. And our opponents are going to be over here. You can only see part of the Arverni force, who's going to be mirroring me, pushing up the hill. And then over here we have the Gitai. So, yeah. This is going to be a Barbarian versus Barbarian battle. We're going to start to get this engagement underway, swarming over here with our cavalry. And look at all the enemy troops here. They have tons of these Falksman units. You can go ahead and put this on cinematic mode, see them rush up. And this is a very brutal charge army, backed up by a bunch of these, I believe, Thracian nobles back here, some nice heavy cav. You can see, actually, my entire army back here was hidden from these scouts. So they're going to go ahead and try and countercharge into my units, but in doing so, they're going to now become fully exposed to all my guys, throwing their javelins at the top of the hill. And you can see I had set a bit of an ambush, and you can see his force is starting to go down. They were baited in by my initial skirmishers, and then I was able to return some of the fire. So these scout troops were not quite sure what was on the other side of the hill, and they ran face first into my own unit. So here they go, they're going to be pulling out. And now here come my noble warriors, all my guys running out, throwing their, not pillow, but their javelin up here. One of the lone horsemen is still alive, and I have even more reinforcements in the back. So here we go, cresting the hill, and you can start to see a little bit of what's in the distance too as both of our armies start cresting the hill. Neither side is really sure what's going on. He's going to start returning fire with some archer fire, so I'm going to be able to pull back behind the crest of the hill a little bit and start to reform. Over in the center, let's put this on slow motion. We have now kind of exploded out from this side with all my spearmen and my ally spearmen, the Wodenized spears, and we're trying to catch these cavalry as they're out in the open. And our opponents over here, the Gitai, are going to counterattack on this front by sending in all their Falksmen. So here they go, they're going to try and stare us down, and they're not quite sure where they want to attack. It looks like they're going to be coming right after these Wodenized spears. That's going to be very troublesome for us, but look at what's on the horizon. On the right, my own cavalry coming down the hill, and they're going to be coming in to try and neutralize these various forces. Let's watch them as they start to smash right into some of our spearmen. This is going to be a brutal assault on our guys. One of these that we really can't take right off the bat, and you can see a couple of these elite spears just going straight down. They are holding together relatively well, but they took a pretty punishing charge. The rest of my forces are going to be pulling back and reforming, but you can just see the damage that was done to this Wodenized spear units, down by 11, and over here down to 82. So we traded not so well against these pretty cost-effective Falksmen. And now look at this, we're going to land a couple more strikes as we push back against the opponents on this side. Over on the top of the hill, that's going to continue to be a stalemate. And we're going to get some nice charges on the Falksmen here. Getting some pretty good payback at the moment. Running these guys down as with their low armor, they're just going to get bowled over by the horsemen. And I swear I'll put this back on play once we can. I just want to show you all the action as it commences. And here I got a nice charge down on the enemy Falksmen, catching them by surprise. And just, yeah, doing all we can to wreck these units that would otherwise do a lot of damage against us. So you can see the initial Falksman line starting to break, and the noble horse from my guys are going to start sweeping in here, helping to clean up these forces and really liberate our Wodenized spears. And that's going to allow us, yep, another strike right here to bowl these guys over. We're really trying to neutralize these high attack units. And as you guys saw me play when I was playing as the Gitai, you really want to keep those Falksmen back and save them for a side assault. They're going to choose to use them instead as sort of shock absorbers. The rest of my guys are lined up behind it. I'm letting Swaby push this front. Over in here, I'm landing a lot of attacks, counterattacks, and just waiting up on the hill, exchanging fire a little bit with my skirmishers. Let's go ahead and now put this on play. We're going to watch one of these main assaults as it comes down with the Gitai streaming down the hill, supporting fire from their archers in the back. And they're going to be pushing through here. Some of the enemy cav is going to disengage, and they've actually all come down off the hill. And we can pop this off. They've all come into this front, landed a huge strike. And look at all these highly skilled, I believe, Thracian noble horsemen coming in here. These guys are very good troops, and they just smash through this line, retreat. And as they retreat, however, they're going to leave a big opening for the Swaby forces to push up right through here. And look what they're going to be aiming at, the backside of the archers. They're going to be making a beeline for that, but there's a lot of cavalry on the flank still reformed who can come back in. And look at that, that's a huge force. So we're going to send our own cavalry to tango with this, more coming in, and we're going to try and isolate these Swaby forces. Over on this front, I have some of my own skirmishers tangoing with the opponents, but our main forces are going to be remain stationary on the hill. And here we go, the main cavalry brawl. A lot of back and forth engagements on this flank, and it's not quite sure who's going to win. It really depends who can get the infantry into this fight. So we're going to be kind of throwing almost everything into this engagement. charges down there, and you can see what's going on up over the hill. A lot of these forces, our Swaby forces, were able to get behind enemy lines, and now they're going to be able to come and envelop this enemy force. I have sent in my own noble horse in here, starting to rake up kills, and now we're going to get an envelopment on this force, but he has sent some Oathsworn allies to try and shore this up. On top of the hill, the opponent is going to land a pretty decisive strike against me. I'm going to go ahead and shore up my forces, get up into square formation, try and absorb the blow of these chosen swordsmen, and keep more of my sword followers in the back so they can get some of their volleys off with their javelins. I'm just going to try and hold this entire force back and swing around with my extra troops. He's going to try and deny me that, sending in his spear warriors to plug the gap, and I have a lot of troops here. We're going to try and break this front, and let's look at this huge barbarian brawl as it goes down. My frontline troops are going to be absolutely massacred. That's fine. I just wanted to hold him back, and I have more guys in reserve positioning themselves to get some nice volleys. And now let's go ahead and watch what's going on here. The cavalry tide is starting to turn against us. You can see the Swaby force is starting to go down, so I'm going to pull in my cav, try and reinforce that or knock out the enemy infantry. A lot of our cav has been pulled over to this side, and it looks like it's even pulling the Arverni cav on this side, but we are going to be going down, so it's a countdown to see who can win the infantry engagement in the center. Very brutal fight with some cavalry support in the rear, some archer support as well, pouring in the fire, and the opponents are doing the same. Likewise, they have a lot of their archers over here who are going to be starting to target some of our forces. Yep, getting right into this melee engagement, targeting all the rear of our horses. Yes, we may be getting some good kills, but the berserkers and some of our other troops are going to be picked off, so we're staying way too long in this fight, and we're not able to knock them out. I'm going to come in with some of my heavy horse to try and knock out this Oathsworn line, but it's not going to be enough, especially with our cavalry starting to be dwindled down. And yep, some of our own troops were in the mix here. Swaby swordmasters are in the mix. We're going to try and keep the opponents down, and I was effectively tied down all along this front. I'm kind of hiding behind the hill to prevent the archers from doing too much damage to me, but they are getting some cross shots on my Oathsworn general. However, another one of my units was up all the way over here, but the opponent just has too many archers, and all they had to do was fall back and now pick off my guys. That was the danger of me coming up around that ridge, is now that I have to chase away his guys. Perfect flanking shots on my very, very solid troops, so I don't want to be committing like this, fully exposed on the flanks. They would rather be fighting face to face with the opponent, but now what they've had to do is sweep around this flank, and that was very troublesome for me. You can see how I tried to curl up the opponent flanks, but he was not cracking. I thought I could send troops around the back and just sweep this up. I even outnumber him in certain areas, but my flanking forces were just picked apart by these reserve archers, so things are not going super well. And I was able to help commit and help turn the tide a little bit on this front, try and dwindle down the enemy numbers who have been engaged on this front for so long. So here come some of my guys. Noble Horse already at about 100 kills right now, coming in with infantry. But in the center, it's been sort of everyone has been ground down to a nub. Everyone's been almost absolutely destroyed. The only remaining force that's been heavily untouched is going to be the Dacian bowmen, and you can see these guys. They are a very potent force in the rear of the army. Just run around getting a couple more volleys, and we can trace those shots as they come down here, and they're just going to be picking off indiscriminately the survivors of this engagement. It doesn't matter which side, they're just going to kill them all, and that's not going to be good for our warriors. You can see archer volleys coming from both sides. Neither of us really cares, so now it's going to be mostly an archer on archer duel. However, the opponents have more of them, and they're going to be up at the top of the hill, and as you can see, there are going to be more cavalry forces. You can watch some of that. They brought back some of their cavalry from the fight at the bottom of the hill and decided to just obliterate the rest of my Oathsworn, who are already taking a lot of fire. You can see all that damage was from the archers, and I'm not quite able to clean up this front. I'm only just starting to dwindle the enemy Oathsworn numbers. They've gotten 140 kills, my own 42, and now they're subject to some rear charges. That's going to be very bad for me. I'm only barely holding into this front, so we really needed to win and mop up on this side, and looks like we finally were able to clean up all of these cavalry forces, but it's left us with nearly no mobility. So here comes the charge up at the bowmen, and I think we're going to follow these guys as they reform, and they're going to pull back behind the line of their own Oathsworn right there. And this is the last of the enemy forces down here, so we're going to try and swarm around the sides and finish this off to try and save my guys at the top of the hill, but they themselves are getting fired on by all of our guys, and it looks like I'm going to start crumbling. It's only a matter of time. I lost this blob here. I'm getting, hammer and anviled on all sides. Let's watch some of these archers as they reform, and they're going to start picking off my cavalry who are trying to give them a go around. We're going to try and scoot on right by. These archers have very precise fire, So they're going to continue to pick off my horsemen as they try and get around, and I'm going to just reform and decide to accept this fight, pull it straight into this engagement. And this is going to scare our opponents a little bit, but not this one unit. They're going to be standing here to the last man and absorb this charge. Even though, yep, last minute some of those archers were getting some final volleys. You can see the rest of the archers, yep, still firing point blank into my guys. This just shows the tenacity of these forces. But there we go. That was the costly victory. So you can see just how fast these barbarian battles go. I felt like I needed more cavalry on this front, but we just got sucked down to the bottom of the hill. So good move on the opponents, not committing too much to this front and just allowing their archers to, kill the rest of our guys in melee, really grind that down to a standstill, and then have the advantage up on the hill. Great battle. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the kills. I did bring the most troops out of all of the forces, but I got the least number of kills. And you can see my guys pretty resoundingly underperforming. Even my Oathsworn, only getting 63 and 45, probably because they were fighting other Oathsworn and were getting shot at in the back. If we look at the Getai on the other hand, the heavy bowmen getting a lot of kills, even the Falksmen, some of them getting a lot of kills. The rest, these were trampled by the Cav, but these noble swords, pretty decent kills, and the cavalry were definitely paying for themselves. If you look at my ally, he himself did pretty well, but I would say the Berserkers definitely did not. I think we wasted those troops. They got shot up by archer fire, and then our own cavalry, scout riders should have been kept back longer to harass the enemy forces. Our own noble riders did pretty well. And we can look at our Verney. Very solid build. Again, both of our opponents deciding to go a lot more archer heavy, and I think that paid for itself in these barbarian battles. Whenever it gets weird, like they get worn down and they get weary and they get tired, that's when you want these archers to get their killing power. Save them, don't put them in your front lines, keep them covered, and then let them get their killing power. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next battle. Peace out.